Well, hi everybody. Uh, Welcome to the Geology 106 class, Dinosaurs. Looking forward to the quarter ahead with you. Uh, I think you'll enjoy this class. I think you'll do well. My goal is for all of us to achieve our goals and enjoy the skills that we will be learning. You've already seen some of the videos, I think, from the orientation module. This is really going to be the first video here about some of the content of the course. These videos are meant to be short. As you know, if you've played the orientation video, that you can speed me up and make these videos even shorter through the button down at the bottom of your screen. Turn me on about 25% faster, and or slow me down if you need to catch what we're saying. A couple more things I just want to mention before we start with the slides, and that is, you'll notice that most of these or some of these videos are closed captioned. We're trying to do as many of those as we can. Our goal is to have them all closed captioned, but at the moment we are working as fast as we can at doing that. You can maximize the screens, and I am adjusting video resolution to try to make the video as clear as possible. Sometimes I use the video as the main screen, and you'll see that it's in both screens, and I recommend that you maximize either the small or the large window. Go into the right-hand corner of that window and click on that little box. One of those will probably be more in sync with the audio than the other. So check that out and decide what works best for you. If you have trouble starting these videos, I've learned that what you can do is stop and start over again. Sometimes the video doesn't open up the first time through. So if you have any trouble, if the screen remains blank or dark, just stop the video and start it over on the timeline down at the bottom, and I think that it will work. But if you have any questions, please contact me or contact the e-learning office. They are at 934-3738. Okay, want to mention this is our textbook. You probably, hopefully have a copy of this. If not, please get one as soon as you can. I'm excited by this book. It's a new edition. It just came out a few months ago. Has some up-to-date information in it. Also has some outdated information in it because, as you know, the research on this particular topic is exciting and accelerating, and new things are coming out almost weekly. So we will be bringing the textbook up to speed. We have a public blog in which we may talk about that, and the authors of the textbook may come to our public blog, and we'll be able to give them some advice on what we've noticed in their textbook, both plus and minus. Okay, well, let's take a look at these slides here. This is the Geology 106. I want to make sure that you know that these slides are sort of a combination of things I've put together, and Dr. Jerry Harris, a friend of mine, a paleontologist, has also has basically put these slides together initially, and I have modified them for this particular course. I want to make sure Jerry gets credit. And in fact, there is Jerry on the left side there of your screen. Being chased by a Monolophosaurus there outside a very famous institute in Beijing, China, the IVPP, the Institute for Vertebrate Paleontology and Paleoanthropology. Jerry and I visited that museum a few years ago on a trip to China to see the feathered dinosaurs. I'll be talking more about those. And there I am, safe in my office, just for comparison there. The study of dinosaurs. So let's introduce that. it's just a branch of paleontology. A lot of times when you think about paleontologists, you think, okay, well, this is about dinosaurs. But not all paleontology is about dinosaurs. Paleontology is the study of ancient life. It could be flora, it could be fauna. It usually involves fossils because that's what we have to work with for studying ancient life. So the dinosaurs are just one branch of this science, and I have here sort of a selection of photos showing you all the different areas in which paleontology tries to unravel what happened in the past. And in fact, we'll be studying more than dinosaurs in this course because we want to learn what was the type of world that the dinosaurs lived in, how did they interact with the other organisms, insects, vegetation, predators, prey, marine life we'll have to learn a little bit about. So paleontology is, of course, the best science, and so you're taking the best science course. There could be, I may be a little biased on that, but it includes principles, techniques, and information from all these different sciences here, and so we'll be covering a lot. You have to realize that there are not all that many paleontologists studying dinosaurs. Most of the paleontologists that you'll talk to are studying other organisms. And so this is a special group. And dinosaurs themselves, we'll learn more about what a dinosaur is. It's a very specific group of animals, has very specific anatomical characteristics, and we'll learn the details of those anatomical characteristics as we go along. We'll learn some of the anatomy, main basic anatomy of dinosaurs, and of course, the way that dinosaurs are defined is based on anatomy and anatomy of the bones, because that's what we have. Dinosaurs lived during a very particular period of time, at least the dinosaurs, most of the dinosaurs we'll be studying. We'll talk a little more about that. Very few fossils are of dinosaurs. It's amazing how much we've learned about dinosaurs from the few pieces of evidence we really have compared to other organisms. We really have sometimes just a few bones from a dinosaur, and draw as many conclusions from those bones as possible. So, sort of in summary, just because something is a fossil does not mean it's a dinosaur, as you might know. Just because an organism is extinct does not mean it's a dinosaur. Just because an organism's name ends in saurus does not mean it's a dinosaur. And just because an organism lived during a particular period of time, like the Mesozoic, 250 to 65 million years ago, does not mean it's a dinosaur. Most important is that just because an organism appears in a pack of toys or in a book and it's called a dinosaur, even if it's on the internet, especially if it's on the internet and it's called a dinosaur, does not mean it's a dinosaur. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So, for example, here's a quiz. This is a rather famous type of fossil. Is it a dinosaur? No. It's a trilobite, which you may have guessed. Lived 570 to about 250 million years ago. It was sort of a vacuum cleaner creature living on the seafloor, gobbling up detritus. Went extinct before the dinosaurs were around. What about this? Another famous fossil, a mammoth. Is this a dinosaur? No, this is something that that existed well after the dinosaurs, most of the dinosaurs, became extinct. Something that our ancestors may have hunted, but not a dinosaur. Here's a Dimetrodon. This guy might look familiar if you have a collection of toy dinosaurs, as I do. But this is not a dinosaur either. It has been called a dinosaur many times, but no, this is totally unrelated to dinosaurs. It's actually in a group of reptiles, the therapsids, that we call the mammal-like reptiles because they led to the lineage of mammals, which led to us. So this guy actually lived in the Permian and went extinct before the dinosaurs were on the scene. Okay, here's something that's around during the Mesozoic, during dinosaur times. This is a marine reptile, a plesiosaur. Is this a dinosaur? No, there were no dinosaurs that swam like this. This is part of a definition of a dinosaur has to do with its skull, and this is not a dinosaur, not really that closely related to dinosaurs either. So marine reptiles are not dinosaurs. They happen to be coexisting with dinosaurs. How about this flying reptile, this pteranodon? Is this a dinosaur? Actually, no, this is not a dinosaur either. It's fairly closely related to dinosaurs. We'll get into that a little bit more. Its limb structure is different than dinosaurs. And it existed during the same period of time, but it was not a dinosaur. So then we get to a big question here. Are dinosaurs extinct? Yes or no? And the answer is actually no, dinosaurs are not extinct. Birds are dinosaurs. Birds are descended from dinosaurs. Essentially, birds are feathered dinosaurs. We have 9,000 species of dinosaurs living today. They just happen to be feathered and they're flying around and they sing beautiful music. But you might say that we're still in the age of dinosaurs because compared to mammals, there are just many more species of dinosaur birds than there are of mammals. Now I've got a little simplified lineage down here of the mammals and how humans are related in some way to other mammals like whales and cows, and birds are related to especially the theropods, the carnivorous dinosaurs, as we'll learn. So those pigeons out there and seagulls have some connection to Tyrannosaurus rex. You just want to be aware of that. In this course, we will be talking about dinosaurs and the extinction of dinosaurs, and we have just to be clear on that, and our textbook addresses this too, birds are avian dinosaurs, and everything else is a non-avian dinosaurs. Non-avian dinosaurs are dinosaurs that aren't birds, and we're usually talking, when we use the short term dinosaurs, we're usually talking about the non-avian dinosaurs, the ones that went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous 65 million years ago. So sometimes a shortcut I'll be talking about the extinction of the dinosaurs, and what I'm really referring to are just the non-avian ones because we still have avian dinosaurs around. So I'm going to end this video here and start a slideshow to give you some idea of what it's like to find fossils in the field and how paleontologists go about doing their work. So hang in there. I'll be back shortly.